TC Talks.
TC Talks.
TC Talks.
TC Talk.
Welcome to TC Talks. We're your hosts,
Curtis Steele,
Andrew Duffy, and Colin Hoover.
So I think we really have a lot to say about the E-Hall Pass. A lot of mixed opinions this year, I think. In fact, we have a form we sent out, and we had over 200 students
200.
answer.
That's a big number.
That's actually kind of
I know.
surprising. I'm actually surprised
I
that
am
the
really
students at
surprised
TC
that
were
that
very
many
that
people-
willing to fill out a form.
Yeah, barely over 200, but like, I would not have expected.
That's
that
still
many
a lot of
people to actually
responses.
fill out a form for.
How many of those are legit responses?
At least one isn't. All right, so we got the first question on our questionnaire was, what do you think about the E-Hall Pass? I like it or I dislike it. And an overwhelming majority, 79.2%, said they dislike it. I don't find that surprising.
Yeah,
at
I'm
all.
actually not very surprised by that. Can you read us some of the reasonings by people? From
In some of the
real
section,
responses?
Some of the reasoning was someone said it doesn't work half the time, and when there's like 8 people out and nobody else can go.
Right.
A lot of people said they would prefer the old way of doing it, like on paper passes or a paper sign-out sheet.
Mm-hmm.
People would just like them to allow more people in the hallway.
Which, for those of you who don't know, we actually clarified with Mr. Murray yesterday. It is 10 boys and 10 girls at one time, which is 20
people.
students total. And it's like about 10 minutes for pastime is when they start to question things. So in case there was any confusion, I know there definitely was with us three trying to figure out the information for you. It is 20 people at a time. So
Yeah, I feel like there should be an exception for people in the bathroom versus people just in the hallway.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because there can be 20 kids in the hallway just because they're going to another classroom, but like those 20 kids aren't all in the bathroom right now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, although that's the thing. If you allow 10 people in a bathroom at one time, which technically you can, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, but I feel like that's why they got the hall monitors because
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't let that happen.
I feel like they
That-
should play into the hall monitors a little more than they do.
I mean, they still play a pretty big role. Honestly, my opinion is I don't really mind the E-Hall Pass very much. I don't think it's very different. The limited passes, I mean, it limits you, but I mean, I used to go to the bathroom probably once a period last year. Now I just don't really notice that I don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a pretty good thing. I think during the beginning of the year, it definitely could have been executed a little better, but it's kind of a trial and error type thing. You don't really know how it's going to play out until you put it into action. So, and I think where they're at now with 10 boys, 10 girls, and 10 minutes for a pass is a pretty fair way to go. There are going to be some issues, and there are definitely some kinks you could work out still, like AJ said, for example, having exceptions between going to the bathroom and just going to teachers and stuff like that could be worked on. But I feel like that's why we have the 3 passes that the teachers can make for us, because that can override like the 10 people in the hallway at a time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's a 10 limit, but really it's not a 10 limit. Like, any teacher you ask, they'll give you a teacher pass that you can go to the bathroom.
Right.
But
If like you really need to go somewhere, they're gonna make an exception for you. They're gonna like help you out.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those people that is just trying to get out of class like every period and stuff like that, now they're able to like keep track of who that is and what's going on with that.
interesting.
All right, what do you guys think about the? So we also had a change last year. There are now 8 periods in a school day instead of 7, which is brand new. So how do you guys feel about that?
Not really a big fan.
Huh?
Not really.
You care to elaborate on that?
In adding an extra period, we shortened just like the time between periods. It's 3 minutes now. It is kind of it's a struggle kind of to get to class.
Yeah.
Even just walking to class, it's
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
ridiculous.
I agree.
I used to be able to go to the bathroom in between literally every period. You can't do that anymore. You will be late.
But then look at what happened last year with all the stuff in the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's also a big reason
Yeah.
for that.
Like last year, there was a lot of vandalism and stuff that was going on in the
Mhm.
bathrooms, and that was honestly, I think, one of the biggest issues with the staff.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, the vaping was a problem, It's probably still happening now. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
It's gonna be.
definitely
It's
is.
very
It's
difficult.
not probably. It definitely
It's
is.
very difficult to put a complete stop to that. But I think people like vandalizing and destroying school property is the biggest issue, and so I definitely think that they were trying to implement measures to kind of put a stop to that, which I understand.
Yeah.
But like you said, I agree. It is a bit of a struggle to get to class sometimes, and you really don't have time to go to the bathroom in between classes anymore.
Yeah. I feel like the hall monitors should be almost enough because they would have like a record of
I agree.
who's
in
walking in and
there.
out. And I feel like the vandalism was like a beginning of last year thing because that was like a whole like TikTok trend to freaking steal stuff from the school.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't notice
was-
as much as that at the end of the year.
You'd be surprised because it was actually really bad in the women's bathroom, which is really
Yeah,
surprising because you'd think
yeah.
that like the teenage boys testosterone, you think they'd be the one like destroying things, and it was actually the women's bathroom mostly, which is kind of
Yeah, I hear it's
surprising to
pretty
me.
bad.
Yeah, it was actually really bad.
So I'm gonna throw in a wild take here. I like the 8 periods better.
I also like the 8 periods
I
better.
you can add more classes to your schedule, and classes are 6 minutes shorter, which means they don't feel as long. I mean, they still some teachers make it
Yeah,
feel
as much
long.
as like the 3 minutes in between classes kind of sucks. I do like the 8th periods. It gives students a lot more opportunities, especially like underclassmen who aren't like seniors getting ready to graduate when they need to have like their classes and stuff like that. It gives them a lot more opportunities to fill up that schedule and get their credits done earlier.
Now, do we think since we're going 8 periods, do you think the school's gonna require more credits?
I don't think so
Mm,
because
'Cause
it's just
We
Columbian.
already have a raise requirement from the state standard. It's only like 20, 21 at the state level, but we have like 24 or something.
I don't know. I don't see that happening personally. I feel like the school would get a lot of backlash for that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
especially since it's not like a community Tiffin decision
Yeah, it's
to
just a
increase the
school board
periods.
decision.
It was purely just the school doing their own thing there. So I think they'd get a
Mhm.
lot of backlash.
Which I
for-
mean, people can go to the school board and express their opinions at the
Mhm.
meetings, so they
Yeah.
really could if they wanted to. But
I
It's
do
just-
wonder whether sport requirements will change because I still think it's
so it's
5 classes. You have to be actively enrolled in 5 classes at Tiffin to play a sport.
so that
But
will
that was for last year.
that won't change because it's an OHSAA rule, and it is 2.5 credits, so 5 classes is just the
Yeah.
equivalent. So
Okay.
it's really not, that won't be changing anytime soon. And 3, I mean 5 classes is still quite a bit, even with 8 periods.
Gotcha.
It appears me disliking the
Mhm.
eight periods is
Yeah.
actually I'm in the minority. 75% of the people that responded to the survey said they did like it.
That's my people.
Yeah, and they liked having more classes.
Yeah.
I think it was just a better move. I
Mhm.
mean, it is very disappointing with the 3 minute the 3 minute time between periods, because it definitely is a rush. I know I have 6th period to my 7th period is across the school, and then 7th to 8th is across the school. So I'm getting my steps in, but
Yeah, I do think it makes sense. The middle school already had 8 periods. I think it aligns better with just like the way the school district kind of works.
mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you don't have to worry about that with like the other schools because they're like the K through 5 schools or whatever.
yeah.
They don't have periods. They just have their set like homeroom classes. But I think it's a good idea for like the middle school and the high school, but being both the schools that have periods kind of align and that sort of thing.
Imagine we had that at the high school. One teacher taught you all day.
Yikes.
No
Yeah,
changing
I don't think
classes.
That would be awful.
I don't think I could do that. One of the opinions put in the survey was that they said that they felt like it was basically just a tactical move to get kids to get more credits, and that shortening the periods actually hurts people's education for people who actually want to learn.
Yes
Because I mean, you do have
and
like,
no.
6 minutes less.
6
time in
minutes
class.
less, which is gonna definitely total up throughout the year. But on a realistic basis, if the middle school can do it, the high school can do it. Because
Yeah, I do agree with that.
like, I mean, if you look at at how it's been in the past, you learn all the stuff that you need for state tests by like February, March,
Yeah, somewhere around
and then
there.
they just teach you the rest throughout the year, which I still think will be able to happen. It may cause a little bit more homework outside school, but we're gonna be gone, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter for us.
Yeah, I feel like you said, if the middle school can do it, we should be able to do it. I don't think that, like, for example, 8th graders becoming freshmen, that they should have to come to the high school, and after successfully going through middle school, like desperately need that extra 6 minutes between periods. And if you do, potentially get in contact with like an intervention specialist or someone that can help you learn at your own pace rather than having to try to rush and like keep up with everybody else if it's not the right pace for you.
Yeah, that is one thing that that they've added a lot more this year is academic assists and giving students the opportunity to get the help that they need if they do so need. That's one thing with the eight periods now. It gives some teachers, because they used to just have one work period, but now they're either doing their work period or they're study hall monitoring or academic assisting. Or not study hall. So some teachers have a study hall this year to kind of lighten the load on Miss Roberts, but some are also academic assisting or hall monitoring. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
So what do you think about the new principals?
New principals? I have hardly interacted with either of them, but they have been nice in the few times I've interacted with them.
I mean, Mrs. Heinlein and Mr. Murray both seem very chill, for lack of a better word.
What's her name? Miss Highline?
Miss Heinlein.
Heinlein?
Yeah.
So I've literally probably spoken to her once this entire school year, so I can't say much about her. But Mr. Murray, really cool dude. I mean, I've seen him at a lot of the sporting events. He cares about the TC pride, you know.
We don't stop.
And he's just really talking to people in the hallways, always giving me fist bumps. He's quite the fella.
You should give me a hug one day. You know, you're really caring guy.
Mr. Alvarado. Thoughts and opinions on Mr. Alvarado?
I feel like he's done a pretty decent job for his time
Mhm.
here.
You know, I was sad to see Trissler go at first, but I wasn't really all there with Alvarado when he first came in. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of change, and so I didn't really like the moves he was making with the school. But I mean, once you get to know him, he's a really nice guy.
He is a
and
very, very nice guy.
the changes are definitely
He likes
better.
metal.
He does like heavy metal, if you guys weren't aware of that. So, you ever want to bond with Mr. Alvarado, just talk about, you know,
Walk up to him and go, hey, Slipknot.
corn.
Corn.
But Mrs. Heinlein is actually my teacher or my principal. Because if you guys didn't know, they've split. Each principal is paired up with a counselor, and it's each third of the alphabet is what each principal and counselor deal with. So depending on your last name, you have your set of counselor and principal. And so I have Miss Heinlein. So I've been able to talk to her a few times, and she seems very nice. She definitely seems to care about the students. Even being very new, I think they both, you can tell, care about the students and care about what they're doing.
Whoops.
And they're both very eager to come on the podcast. If you guys are ready for this, they're actually going to be guests on the podcast soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we will have Alvarado coming up. We're just going to do episodes solely with him. And then we are also going to bring on the two new assistant principal or co-principals, however they assign those.
Yeah,
And
they're all very eager for that. So
yeah, we'll have a nice episode with both of them. And who knows, we'll if you guys have any suggestions for episodes you want to see or people you want to see on, just shoot any one of us an email and we'll see it and try to see what we can work out with them.
Yeah. I do think that overall the split principal is a good decision. It splits the workload between like the principal and the guidance counselors pretty evenly, which I think is going to be a good thing, especially with all the changes that like Alvarado's been making for the school. You can tell he's definitely got a lot on his mind, a lot he's working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good thing for him to be able to get the workload off when it comes to like doing with like the students and that sort of thing. So he's not spending all his time and doing all that kind of stuff.
So what are thoughts on the new English teachers?
I have zero thoughts.
I have zero opinions. I have not talked
Don't
to
have
either
a
of
class
them.
with
Mhm.
them. Haven't talked to them.
Yeah.
Like, basically nothing.
That's kind of how I am. I've never had them. I'm never going to have them. I see them in the hall when I pass them going to my English class, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, they're both really nice.
Mhm.
And
we have a doctor.
yeah, we do have a
Dr.
doctor. Dr.
Urias.
Yuri is actually, in my opinion, a little overqualified for this job. But, you know,
It's what, 2 doctors we have? Dr. Gal and
Yeah.
Dr. Urias.
and Mr. Edmonds actually working on his doctorate right now,
Okay,
so that'll
yeah.
be 3 doctors at our school.
Is he working on it, or like has he started the process? 'Cause
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
he's talking about it.
He started it like 2 years ago.
That
So
Bowling Green, I'm guessing. That's what he's
Probably.
talking about because he wanted to graduate with the nice shiny doctorate stuff.
So that'll be impressive. We're gonna have 3 doctors at our school.
That's crazy.
We also got changes to study hall opt-outs this year. Upperclassmen only, so that's junior and seniors, can now
Oh,
opt out of.
I'm like 95% sure that that's how it was last year as well. Upperclassmen only. I think since Alvarado's been here, it's been upperclassmen only. I think that's a rule he made.
It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been, but upperclassmen only, first, fifth, and eighth period,
Mm.
and with some exceptions, you can opt out of other periods. So like if you don't have anything for like your first 2 periods,
Yeah.
and you go and like talk to your principal and your guidance counselor, there's a good chance that they'll let you opt out of like first and second
Yeah.
period.
Mhm.
Because realistically, there's no point in making you come in earlier than you need to, and sit in
Sitting in
like a study hall and do nothing
Yeah.
for that
Sleeping.
period when you could be at home in the coming third period.
I wonder if you had like a 5th and 6th study hall. I wonder if they'd extend that.
Yeah,
not
I'm-
sure.
I feel
guarantee
like
they would.
like just like extra extended lunch. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
I mean, I
Would
already
be
get the
nice.
5th period all off. Very nice feature. Getting that hour and 20-minute lunch, I think. About hour 20, hour
nice.
30.
Yeah.
Yummy food in my tummy. I went to Tiffin University once this year. Gone out to a couple restaurants. It's just nice to have that extra time. Nice little relaxed period halfway through the
It
day.
is nice. It is nice to not have to feel rushed at all when you're going to get your food. Depending on where you go, you do feel kind of rushed to get back on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have both lunches out, it's very, very nice for that.
Last year, I know when I only had one lunch, sometimes I'd push out to KFC or something and be dragging back at the final seconds. But this year, since I have all, I'm chilling.
What do we think about school starting at 7:30 versus 7:45?
Yes and
Since
no.
last-
Yeah, that's so mixed opinions on
Mhm.
that.
I don't like coming in earlier. I mean, the studies have shown that little kids are more functional in the morning. So I think that it would make more sense for the elementary schools to go earlier instead of later, like they do. But then again, with the same time with extracurriculars after school, it also is kind of nice to to get out at 2:30 because then practices aren't going until 5:30, 6.
Yeah, it sucks having to get up earlier, but it's
Mhm.
nice getting out earlier. So it's kind of like a pick your poison type thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would be rocking with an 8 to 3. Like an 8 to 3, I think is a solid pick. You know, you got just enough time to where you kind of still get to sleep in, and you're not getting out super, super late.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Just-
honest. I would second that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do kind of like starting at 7:30. I mean, I already get up like 2
Yeah,
hours
that's you,
before
though.
school starts
That's you.
anyway.
Yeah,
You're not one of
I
the people who
also have
sleeps
to
into
get.
the
I
last
also have to
minute.
get up at I have to get up like 6 a.m. every day, which is not ideal by any means. It's not my choice, but
Personally, I wake up at like 6 or 7:15. Like
Oh
it's
my-
late. It's
how do
late,
you get here?
huh? Because I
how-
live like 2 minutes away.
How do you have time?
Yes.
Oh wait, if you look at Curtis's outfit, it explains a lot.
Yeah, I just throw on the first thing I see, so I'm not late to school.
That's terrible. You gotta have a calm fit like me.
Oh my god.
That's a
You
crazy
feeling
take.
great?
I'm actually feeling great. So
Well, let's get into our little let's do a little school year recap so far. I mean, the football team has really been killing it lately. I mean, they
yeah,
came
so far we only have 2 losses, if I believe.
Yeah, we-
Perkins and
Bishop Watterson,
Yeah.
both phenomenal teams. I mean, Perkins wasn't really our game. It was a home game. It was cold. We couldn't really get the run game going. Damien was kind of getting stuffed a little bit, and just nothing was really connecting for us. But I mean, I think honestly, it's gonna motivate us. We got a big first home game against Ashland this week. They're 5-5. They pretty all right team, but they're kind of middle of the chain. So hopefully we should whoop on them. But playoffs are gonna be rough this year. Toledo Central Catholic won the Division II state championship last year, and then moved down to Division III this year because they can kind of control their numbers. Unfortunately, they're top 100 in the nation playing D3 football,
Yeah.
and they're wiping everyone they've played. So that's going to be really rough, especially since they're in our region.
Mhm.
So we will have to beat them just to even get to the state Final Four. So
that's gonna be really difficult match.
It's gonna be
That's
very
probably gonna
difficult.
be one of if not the hardest one we have to go through to get to the
I
state
think
Final
honestly,
Four.
this Toledo Central Catholic team is the hardest team we've played all 4 years we've been in high school. Our freshman Chardon team was good. The team who sent us home in the Final Four, but this team smokes them. They shouldn't be a Division III football team. I think if you win a state championship, 1 to 2 year hiatus from moving up or down divisions. I mean, you could probably move up, but moving down, I don't think so. Like, because they're probably gonna back-to-back state champs because they moved down and they like competitive advantage. Because I know like it's all about numbers, but OHSA also has competitive advantage, move up and move down. So I think they should have just stayed Div 2 because of competitive advantage.
I agree.
But that's enough of my football rant. The other sports we've had great. Volleyball, they're co-SBC champs with Norwalk, first time since 2009, I believe. They had a great season. The boys golf team hit a back-to-back SBC championships led under Jace Risen. He's been really a star player. He stepped up his game a lot last year. He made a good run. I believe he was SBC first team this year. Logan Smith, SBC second team.
Yeah.
And Braden Bowe's honorable mention, if that's right. I may be off about that, but the boys had a phenomenal season. Made it to districts. A really cold, really tough day. But who else have we had? The girls cross country team, phenomenal this year.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive.
Sixth
this year.
straight SBC championship. They won districts as a team. That's a very hard accomplishment.
That is very impressive.
With Corinne Croy finishing first and Grace Blondie second in the entire race, like that's crazy. I think Corinne beat Grace by 13 seconds. So
Wow.
she's gonna have. I got high hopes for her this season. I mean, this Saturday we have sectionals at Hedges Boyer, and home course. It's their fastest course that they run because it is their home course, and so they kind of have that advantage there. And I think really they have a great chance at maybe both of them even getting to state, and it would be really cool to see one of them
That would be really cool for both of them to
win
make it there.
state. That would be crazy.
We also have boys cross country, which AJ is actually a member of the boys cross country.
Mhm.
You want to talk to us a
Yeah,
little bit
tell
about
us a little
that,
more
AJ?
about that, AJ. No.
You don't want to talk about it?
We don't talk about that.
Well, the boys won the SBCs this year, right? No,
we got 4th
they got 4th.
out of 5.
Oh, sorry about that. But Alex Albert did come in second at the SBC race.
He did.
He was on fire this season.
Yeah, he's very phenomenal. He seems to PR every time he even does a light jog. It's actually very impressive.
He was unfortunately not enough to make it through districts, but I still applaud his efforts. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a really great season this
He
year.
had a really good time.
He won 1 or 2 meets individually, correct? I know he won at least one. I don't know if he won a second. Maybe.
Might have.
Then
Check that.
girls tennis, we had some good players. Leah Weingart, Leah Wall, and Elise Fruth. They all had a good year, as well as Elise Weingart. Elise Weingart and Elise Johnston and Leah Weingart swapped out at one singles quite a bit because Leah also ran cross country. But
Mhm.
Leah Wall and Elise Fruth made it to districts and doubles. That's one of the couple of times in school history, I believe, is what they were saying at the pep rally. So we were pretty proud of them. They've done pretty great things for the tennis team this year. What are you doing to your mic? But yeah, we've had a really great year for sports this year, and I think honestly, we're gonna have a good winter season, good spring season. Hopefully, we'll see basketball, maybe swim doing well,
Yeah.
led under
We've got
Addison
boys
Fortney.
tennis coming up in the spring season too, which is going to be pretty
Mhm.
phenomenal. We've got a lot of members on the boys tennis team. I know there were a lot.
Mhm.
There were so many last year. They had to do
Even
split
more this year.
sectionals
Mm.
because there wasn't enough room on the court. And there's supposed to be even more this year. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how he's going to be able to handle.
He might have to make
3
cuts, honestly.
practices.
Yeah, a 3-way split sectional would be kind of wild.
Yeah,
but
He might.
he might just have to make
he
cuts.
Might, he might just be a varsity and JV.
I mean, I know, like making cuts as a coach isn't the greatest thing, but sometimes it's just necessary. Like,
Yeah.
it just can't get to that point where you have to do 3 practices.
Right.
If there's that many kids, that's just too much. Like, it.
And
I
we've
mean-
been up for like most for sports. Our coaches do a pretty good job of not having to worry about cuts.
Mm-hmm.
They do a pretty good job of including everybody.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
But it is understandable. You can't expect that no matter what, everybody's going to make the
Yeah.
sports team no matter what.
Cause-
There gets to a point where there's going to have to be cuts. And this might be one of those seasons for tennis.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, we're not in Little League anymore. This isn't 5-year-old soccer down at the
You're not here for
YMCA. This is
participation awards.
this is high school
You
sports.
gotta win.
We're trying to
gotta
win state
win.
championships. We're trying to make it far in the playoffs. and sometimes everyone can't be included. And that's it's a sucky part about it, but it's just the truth.
Right.
But I think we have a really solid sports program at TC right now. I think our baseball team, we have a lot of seniors, Bryce Rogo, Gavin McLean, Talabas Kwani, Braylon Albull, a really solid baseball team. So that should be a good run this year. And softball, I believe did they win SVCs last year? Or I haven't heard a lot about softball. I know Caitlin Bates was phenomenal. She went to Muskingum on softball scholarship. She was a pretty good player. You having fun, AJ? Can we put that in?
And would you look at that? We're getting low on time. So if you guys enjoy the TC Talks podcast, make sure to follow us on YouTube. We're going to be getting ourselves onto your local streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music soon. So keep an eye out for that. But if you guys have any questions or if you've had anything you'd like us to talk about, just leave it in the comments or shoot us an email. Any guests you'd like to see on the podcast, do the same. We're always here for you. This is TC Talks. So
And
we're here to listen to TC.
You've been listening to TC Talks, where we talk TC Talks back.